Smart shades can cost hundreds of dollars per window, and if you measure wrong, well, you're stuck with a very expensive mistake. SwitchBot has just released something pretty interesting, the world's first adjustable smart roller shades. No custom sizing needed, and they're way more affordable than traditional options, and they work with pretty much any smart home ecosystem. So today we'll see if they're actually any good and if they could be the solution you've been waiting for your smart home. Let's go. Yo, what's up guys? My name is Shane and this channel is all about helping you build an easy Apple home, smart home with new videos and live streams published every week. Now, smart shades have easily become one of my favorite smart home upgrades, period. Open automatically at sunrise, close at sunset, even help keep your house cool on those hot summer days. They're just amazing. But I think a big obstacle for many people is the cost. You can easily spend $300 to $700, $800, $900 per window for a lot of smart shades. So when SwitchBot announced their new, more affordable, adjustable roller shades, I had to check them out. A big thanks to SwitchBot for sponsoring today's video and sending me a few of their roller shades for us to test out. And this video is sponsored, but as always, I'm gonna share both the pros and the cons with you here today. And there definitely are some of both, which we'll get into in a minute. Now, before we get to the unboxing and installation, let's quickly talk about what makes these shades different. First is the sizing. These come in 4 different size options. You got small, medium, large, and extra large, covering windows anywhere from 23 inches up to 72.8 inches wide. And because they are adjustable, you've got some flexibility there with your initial measuring requirements and stuff like that. With most smart shades, you need to be extremely precise with your measurements before you place your order. With these, not so much. They come in either gray or white and are 100% blackout shades. There are no light filtering options for these. Now, they do advertise that you can switch out the fabrics if you want, although that's not something that SwitchBot sells. So I guess you could get your own fabrics, and cut to size and install those if you wanted to. We'll come back around to that a little bit here in a minute. Now, as for smart home compatibility, these work with pretty much everything. They're Matter compatible through one of the SwitchBot Matter hubs, which means they will work with Apple Home, Amazon, Google Home, SmartThings, you name it. And there are multiple ways to control the shades, which we'll also cover in just a second. Now, let's take a look at what you actually get in the box and how the installation process works, because this is where things really get a little interesting with these. SwitchBot sent me 3 of their roller shades and 3 solar panels. You can see this is the small size compatible with windows between 23 and 32 inches wide. Inside the box, we have all of our installation hardware. This here is a little physical remote that you can use for controlling the shades. We have the user manual. This little strip here will come in handy, so don't lose that. This is the bottom bar for the shades. Then we have the roller shades main unit. As you can kind of see here, these are adjustable. So how does that work? There's lots of guidance in the user manual. They also have a picture tutorial and a video tutorial in the app that will help greatly. Definitely pay close attention to that. First thing you want to do is add them to the SwitchBot app, tap new device, then add the shades by holding down the pairing button, name them, select the room, and then it's going to start walking you through the installation process and the resizing process. To size them, first you remove the end cap and the roller shades, then you loosen up the screws on the top, temporarily replace the end cap so we can get the right size for our window. Now, I'll be mounting these inside the window. You can also mount them outside of the window if you want to, which will require a slightly different process for installing them, but pretty basic here. Now, once I got the right size for the window, I tightened those top screws to secure the correct size for the main unit. Now comes the part that really made me a little bit nervous here, cutting the shades. Yes, that's right, we have to actually cut the shades in order to resize them. It's really quite interesting how they've done this. So the app will walk you through everything. You put the roller back onto the motor unit there, then add this sticker template thing in the right place. You just want to make sure that you have this in the right place, of course, to make sure you cut them at the right length. So again, I was kind of nervous about this process. But then you're gonna go ahead and replace the end cap with this piece. It will actually cut the shades for you. Tighten the screws on it so it stays in place, and then you can begin the cutting process in the app. Once the shade starts rolling, you simply twist the screw at the top, which will lower the blade and cuts the shade. It actually does this very easily. There's a little notch on the side of the cutter to show you the max distance you need to go all the way down. Once done, turn the screw back in the opposite way until it's all the way up. Take off the cutter end piece and take your roller shade back off. Remove all the tape, and then you want to unroll your shade all the way. It helps to have a large space to do this. I found doing it on the bed was the easiest. You'll slide off the plastic piece and break it off where the cut was made. Discard the end piece and cut the rest of the shade off that we don't need. And then you slide the plastic piece back on. There are little grooves where the roller shade will slide into. And now you loosen these 4 top screws and slide the top bar in so that it aligns with the plastic piece that we just cut. Retighten your screws, roll the shade back up, and now we need to install the bottom bar. So this is where the strip comes in that I mentioned earlier. SwitchBot even gives you a little stapler in the box, so you have everything you need. Just staple that piece along the bottom of the shade and cut off any excess remaining. Now just slide that into the grooves of the bottom bar on each side. Put the whole shade back on the main unit, put the little end cap on, and then reattach the main end cap with the 2 screws. Now our resized shades are ready to be hung. Hanging them is the easy part. Similar to most shades, you just put up the brackets on either side. For inside mounted shades, the exact placement really isn't that important. There's just a little spring-loaded bracket that the shade will snap right into. And then you can finish up with a quick calibration process in the app to save the max open and close positions of your shades. And we're done. Now I'm not gonna lie, this was quite the process. Mainly just the resizing stuff. Hanging them is easy, but resizing them does take a while, especially if you take your time to make sure you're doing it right, which is definitely what I recommend doing. Again, I was really nervous about cutting the shades, but after the first one, I was able to do the second one and third ones much quicker, getting a little bit faster and just more comfortable with the whole process with each one. If you have the SwitchBot solar panel, you can connect that to the USB Type-C port and simply stick the solar panel to the window. I love the solution. With this, you never have to worry about recharging the battery. If you don't opt for the solar panel, they say a single charge should last you about 8 months with regular use. To charge them, simply connect them to an outlet or a power bank using that same USB-C port. Each shade does come with that physical remote. You can plug this into the port on the bottom and you can then mount that little controller on the windowsill or whatever you want. This is a nice way to manually control them, maybe if you need something like that or if you want that. Personally, I don't really like the look of this. I wouldn't want that wire kind of like hanging down or mounted anywhere in the windowsill personally. So I'm not gonna be using that here, but this is a nice option if maybe you do have family members or yourself that wants to have that physical controller there. But for me personally, I would just rather use one of the little wireless SwitchBot remotes that you can buy separately, and you can place that anywhere, like on the bedside table. You can get these for like $20. And again, it's just great for that manual control of the shades without having any wires or anything like that hanging down. You can of course control the shades to open or close or set them to any position you want in the SwitchBot app. You can save customized actions if you want maybe to open them at a certain position easily with just a quick tap. You can also create quick scenes to control a group of shades at once. But if you want to control a group of shades together on a regular basis, I recommend grouping them together in the SwitchBot app. When you do this, you can control the entire group as one, and they will stay in sync very well when you do it this way. And having all the shades, you know, in a group just move up and down together in unison just feels really luxurious to me for some reason. In the app, you can also enable the quiet drift mode, which makes the shades move slower but much quieter. There's also a light sensor built into the solar panel that you can utilize for automations, which is really nice. So if you want the shades to close when the sunlight gets, you know, to a certain brightness level, you can easily configure that here in the SwitchBot app as well. There's also a number of other ways to control these shades. We already talked about the little wireless remote, which is one of my favorite ways to control them. You can also connect them to the SwitchBot universal remote if you have one of those. NFC tags is another option. SwitchBot sells little NFC tags that can be placed anywhere, just has a little 3M tape on the back. A simple tap of your iPhone can trigger any automation, so you can have them open or close, or just like a toggle to open or close depending on the current state. And of course, we have our smart home integrations. There are a number of supported integrations, including Amazon, Google, Siri shortcuts, SmartThings, and more. Since these shades are Bluetooth devices, you will need a SwitchBot Hub in your house in order to configure any of these integrations. Now we're using a SwitchBot Hub 2 here with Matter support, and it is that Matter integration that I'm most interested in because that means I can add the shades to the Apple Home app and use them with any of my HomeKit automations or scenes. Just add the shades to Matter in the settings for your SwitchBot Hub, and then the shades will automatically show up in the Apple Home app once you've added your SwitchBot Hub to HomeKit. You can use to control them or any of your Apple devices. Close the bedroom shades halfway. You can add them to your HomeKit scenes or automations, basically anything you would expect with a HomeKit accessory. They work really well in HomeKit for me so far. Again, I set these up as a group, and if you do that and then add them in the Home app via Matter, they'll actually come over to the Apple Home app as a single accessory. You can, of course, add them all individually too if you prefer that way, but since we're just controlling all these together all the time, this works great for us. The roller shades are available to purchase now and start at $199.99 US, but at the time of this recording, there is a significant discount, which varies depending on the size you order. Adding a solar panel adds basically an additional $30 to your order. So right now, again, at the time of this recording, you can get the small size with the solar panel for just under $150. Compare that to SmartThings, for example, which would be about $335 for the same size, so more than double. Compare that to Lutron Serena, which would cost you over $750 for a single window of the same size. The extra large SwitchBot Roller Shades, giving you up to 72.8 inches with included solar panel right now, would run you just under $230 with that available discount. Almost half the price for the same size from SmartThings, and about a fourth of the cost for something similar from Lutron Serena. As always, I'll have affiliate links down below in the description so you can check for the best price and any available discounts whenever you're watching this. Now let's talk the pros and cons, because like I said in the beginning, there are some of both. Now the installation process is extremely tedious if you have to resize them as I did. It took me much longer than a typical shade installation because of that, but I also really wanted to make sure that I did it right and didn't mess it up. Again, it did get a little easier after the first one. I kind of sort of figured it out and figured out what I was doing. I did 3 shades and it took me probably about 3 or 4 hours from start to finish. I imagine if you have even more shades that you need to resize, that would be pretty tedious. They are pretty limited also to the available fabric options, only coming in white or gray with only 100% blackout as an option. Again, they say you can change the fabric and even the roller shutter if you want, but that's just gonna make the process even more tedious and more DIY, I guess. But that is a nice option, I suppose, if you really wanted a custom DIY smart shade. But again, out of the box, there's really just a few options for fabrics. Only thing regarding the looks that I don't like too much is that you can kind of sort of see the adjustable section there on the top and the bottom bars. Really not terrible, I don't think, and you kind of, I don't know, it's not that bad, but just something to point out. You could probably make your own valance or something like that if you wanted to cover that up, you know, completely, but again, it's really not that bad. Just not quite as clean as other shade options I've seen out there. That's just really because of the adjustable nature of these. So I guess the question is, why go this route, having to cut and adjust the shades when there are so many made to order other options out there for smart shades like SmartThings or Lutron? 2 reasons really that I can think of, and first of all is just obviously the price, especially if you can get a discount like they have available now. they're gonna be significantly more affordable in most cases. I do feel like the $200 price point for the small shades is a little higher than I'd like to see. I'd like to see it around $150 or so, which is what you get right now with the discount. I do think that's kind of like the perfect price point for something like this. So definitely take advantage of that discount if you can. I know SwitchBot also usually runs good sales during events like Prime Day and Black Friday. So if there isn't a discount available when you're watching this, you might want to wait until there is a sale available in the near future. Another reason these adjustable shades might be compelling is if you have a bunch of oddly sized windows. Maybe you have a full room of windows at like slightly different sizes. That's actually the case in this room where I installed these. So it's nice to be able to just buy like the small size, like I did, buy a bunch of those and then adjust them accordingly during the installation. That part was nice. SwitchBot has kind of made a name for themselves, offering retrofit smart home solutions. So I think having the first adjustable smart shades is very much on brand for SwitchBot. Overall, I love the smart home integrations. If you have a SwitchBot Hub, controlling these through Matter using any smart home ecosystem is great. Love the Apple Home integration. I love the wireless button for these also, plus NFC tags or even the SwitchBot Universal Remote if you have one of those. I do think this is a really good option for somebody who wants smart shades but is maybe on more of a budget. The grouping feature works really well, so I think being able to have multiple shades synced up to move in unison is a really nice bonus also. At the end of the day, having your shades open and close with the sunrise and sunset or the temperature in the room or even the brightness of the sun is just one of the best quality of life improvements. And I am thrilled to see another option for us consumers out there, especially one that works in Apple Home at a more reasonable price point. So what do you think? How do you feel about the price or the look of these? Let me know down in the comments. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. And I also really like the SwitchBot blind tilts, which can be used to turn your existing Venetian blinds smart. And I use these all over my house. I have been using them for years. So if you want to check out that video, click right up here. Subscribe for more smart home content like this and live streams every week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.